The rapidly changing situation on the battlefield is forcing Western officials to develop new plans in order to preserve the viability of the pro-Western Ukrainian authorities. Having finally realized that Western weapons and economic sanctions would not be able to defeat Russia, London and Washington began to develop a new plan to keep under the control of the pro-Western Kyiv authorities at least a small part of Ukraine with access to the Black Sea. So, it became known that in January next year, London will sign a so-called 10-year security pact with Ukraine. According to this pact, Britain undertakes to work closely with the Ukrainian Navy, supplying it with warships and intelligence data. It is worth noting that Britain became the first Western country to take such a step. The fact is that this agreement between Kyiv and London also provides for the permanent presence of British Navy warships in Odessa. And against the background of the successful offensive of the Russian army along the entire front line, it remains unclear what Moscow's reaction to such actions by Britain will be. It seems that the West has finally realized that Ukraine will not be able to win this war, and hopes to preserve access to the Black Sea by such actions, thinking that the Russians will not dare to attack Odessa and all other cities on the Black Sea coast. Such risky actions of the West can be understood. The fact is that the United States and EU countries, including Britain, have been investing tens of billions of dollars in Ukraine for 10 years, being sure that this Eastern European country with the richest natural resources has finally come under the control of the West. The loss of Ukraine will mean not only a humiliating defeat for the West, but also huge financial losses that will never be reimbursed. And the fact that the Russian army has been keeping the richest regions of Ukraine under its control for almost 2 years, successfully moving forward along the entire front line, forces the West to take desperate steps, trying to keep at least something for itself. Even Germany admitted that the European Union dreamed of getting Ukraine's natural resources, and that Russia's actions put an end to these dreams. Let me remind you that yesterday, a member of the Bundestag from the center-right political party, Christian Democratic Union, Roderich Kiesewetter, said that the EU countries were hoping to get one of the largest lithium deposits in the world, which is located in the Donbass. According to him, any compromise with Russia will mean that the European Union abandons this Ukrainian region with the richest natural resources and recognizes Moscow's victory. And judging by recent events, the West will still have to put up with not only the loss of Donbass, but also cities such as Odessa, NIKOLAEV, and Kyiv. So, on December 19, at the final board of the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin made another statement that finally destroyed all the hopes of the West. In particular, he stated that Odessa is historically a Russian city and that Russia will never give away to anyone what rightfully belongs to it. Thus, it becomes clear that the Kremlin has long drawn a map of post-war Ukraine, which will not have access to the Black Sea. Moreover, the West is very alarmed by the fact that starting in September 2023, Russia began to talk to Western countries in a victorious tone. In particular, the Deputy Permanent Representative of the Russian Federation to the United Nations, Dmitry Polyansky, officially stated that the United States and Britain should forget about the peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, and that the war would end only after the Kyiv regime signed a document on its surrender. Against this background, even Western experts recognize the fact that very soon, the West will have to save the Kyiv authorities by placing them in London or Brussels. At the same time, experts recognize that the West has already lost in Ukraine, and that this European country without its rich eastern and southern regions and access to the Black Sea, will turn into a real headache for the West, which will have to be maintained, fed and watered for free, to the detriment of the economy of Western countries.